Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Chris, why are you like surprised at the sound of my voice? You did know I was going to introduce the
What
show.
show am I on, Deb? What is this?
You are on Goal Chat, and thank you. For those of you who don't know me, and yes, I am pretty much always like this. I'm Deborah Eckerling, creator of the Deb Method for Goal Setting Simplified. I'm also the author of Your Goal Guide and 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. And you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week I bring together some of my people to dive into the conversation. And actually, this is by popular demand. We're having a conversation on AI because you got to befriend the robots. We'll just put it that way, and we'll dive into it. I'm sure more than that. And you might be watching this as Goal Chat Live. You might be watching us live as Goal Chat Live, or watching the replay, or listening to us as the Goal Chat podcast. But no matter how you found us, we are so glad you're here. And so, Paula McConnell, I met at a networking event a couple weeks ago, and I basically said, "Oh my God, you love AI. You have to be here." So Paula and I were in a breakout room together. So we are getting to know each other as you get to know Paula. Chris Stone, who I know through our friend Jim Hughes, who's been on my show before. I've been on Dealcasters, and I believe you were on my I know you were on my Fun with Tech panel month before last. And I'm like, we're doing an AI thing. So really happy to have you here. And Jason Van Orden, among other things, he is an AI cheerleader, but he is also co-host of the GEM Networking meetups, which is once a month. And I go to a lot of things and I ignore a lot of things, and some things I go to over and over, and GEM is one of them. So I appreciate you having such a fun, what is the right word? Interactive networking experience. Because that's what we're here for. And I think I babbled, not a little too, maybe a little. I would love for you all to introduce yourselves better, because so far all everybody knows is that you guys are awesome. So please tell them why. Paula.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for that amazing intro and for thinking I'm awesome. That was such a fluky thing. When I met you, I was invited by another friend. She said, you should totally show up for this. So I'm like, okay, I did it. And I'm so glad I did. So I'm Paula McConnell. I'm the founder of Seva Digital, or pronounced more correctly, Seva Digital. That's my upstate New York accent getting the better of me. I am an AI educator. I'm also a high school teacher. So I go from the human technology interface a little bit differently than many other folks do. I teach from a human-centered focus. So I started out as a human-centered designer, ended up in tech, and here we are. I teach. That's what I do.
Well, and like I said before, we ended up at this networking thing, and I'm like, you love AI like I love goals. So I'm really excited to have you in the conversation. And Chris Stone, always fun to see you. We know it's going to be a good time if you are here. Am I wrong?
I don't think I sure hope you're not. Listen, if we're not having fun, what are we doing? Right. And so this is what I love about your show, Deb. And thank you for once again having me on. This show is fun. And you can't replicate, AI can't replicate what we're doing right here, right now, right? And so this is a fantastic opportunity for me to meet these great new people who I never met before, like 10 minutes ago, and actually, join with the world, across the globe and talk about this kind of stuff. My name is Chris Stone. I am at castahead.net, and I work with motivated entrepreneurs to do a show, because most of the time people don't want to learn how all that stuff works in the back end of a podcast and a live production and all that kind of stuff. And that's what we do for them. And Deb, thank you once again for this. I hope this is fun. I think maybe, Jason and Paula don't know what they got themselves into, but this is going to be a blast.
We'll find out. Well, Jason has been on before, but it's been a while.
Been a little while, yeah.
Yeah, so glad to have you back. So who are you?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me back, Deb. And I am Jason Van Orden. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm a growth strategist that works with coaches and consultants. For the last 20 years, I've helped them to scale by improving their messaging, their sales, and their offers to make them more scalable. And as of the last couple of years, it's been very AI focused because I saw that there's so much potential in using AI to scale your business, particularly by infusing a lot of these frameworks that I've created for scaling into AI. But one of my favorite things to do is to help experts who feel like they're sitting on a gold mine of intellectual property, all that content or books, things they've created over the years, and they know they're not leveraging it as much as they can. So I love helping them create custom AI that's fully trained on their IP so that it makes it easier for them to create content, to make strategic decisions, turning AI into a thinking partner that truly understands their business and their body of work. And that's what I do.
Okay, and will you say a few words about GEM? Because I don't think I gave it its due, as it were.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, GEM started back in during the pandemic times when we were looking for ways to help people connect, and it's just kept going ever since. So it's a networking group that brings together content creators and coaches and consultants, subject matter experts, for collaborations, for interviews, for things like this, for instance. But we also just love facilitating great discussions around topics that will help you gain insights about whatever the goals or challenges you're working on in your business right now, at the same time as you're meeting other quality people to partner with. And so that's monthly. We meet on the second Thursday of the month, 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'm happy to share a link or something if anybody's interested in checking it out. We'd love to have them.
Okay, and I will actually put that along with the recap. If you go to the debmethod.com blog, you will get the recap and links from our friends, but I will be certain to include that as well, because as I say ad nauseum, you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people, and that's the point, I believe, for everything, is to be each other's people, because why are we here? And the other part, though, about AI, as a writer, as someone who has been a writer, goal strategist and like the other things, but I've first and foremost always been a writer. I know the whole idea of AI is kind of scary because they're going to take over the world. But much like SMART goals, AI is a tool. It is not the whole ball of wax. So this is how I personally have been able to embrace this whole AIosphere. Yes, you can also count on me to make up a word or 5 or 7 as we're talking. But what is it you love about AI? And then we can go into how to make AI your friend, I guess. So Chris, why do you love AI?
I think I struggled a lot with getting stuck. And, I've got a lot of stuff that pops around in my squirrel brain. And I just needed a spot to stick it. And it wasn't, the notes app on my phone. It wasn't this, that, or the other. I needed to have a conversation with my assistant. And then later on, when I wasn't driving, walking the dog, running, going between my downstairs studio to my upstairs workspace or whatever, where my ideas happen. It was a way for me to organize those thoughts and actually look at it and say, oh, okay, I did come up with this, and here's kind of like give me an outline with this. And so there's a lot of things that just, historically you would think of, and they would just sort of like float out into the ether. And maybe they came back to you, maybe they didn't. It was a real tactical way of organizing thoughts and really utilizing it to be creative. And that's really what I'm trying to do with the business that I'm in, is take it and be different with it, and not take it and use the same outputs that everyone else is doing. And so for me, it was a way to make myself better in terms of my business. Not necessarily like, personally, because there's no empathy and things like that. And in there, at least not yet. And so, I love it because it really gets me jump started from a blank page.
Okay. And I can be completely okay with it being a support system. Again, bots cannot have this kind of conversation. Well, thank goodness for that.
That's
well, right. They can't just yet. So,
Not yet.
Jason, why do you love AI?
So for me, I like the analogy of, I think a lot of people have seen the Marvel movies, and we have Iron Man in the Marvel movies, and you have those moments where he's in his lab and, he's using all this high tech stuff, and he's talking to his assistant Jarvis, right? And he's able to say, like, Jarvis, can you get me the such and such, or what do you think? And he's just like batting ideas back and forth and creating and testing and trying things out. And I work with a lot of coaches and consultants who are solopreneurs, or they have, remote teams, and it can be very lonely working on your own at home with all those ideas batting around in your squirrel brain, to borrow that same phrase. And when I really figured out how to use AI as a thinking partner, not just this input output machine, not just this generic robot that, cranks stuff, like a fancy search engine, that's where things really started opening up. And whether it's not starting from a blank page, whether it's sorting through your ideas, whether it's pulling in ideas and research, whether it's helping you see across all of your different content that you have, you can make connections that you might not have otherwise. You can create things faster that you might not have even gotten to without because you just don't have enough time, right? So it opens up so many possibilities. Plenty of concerns for us to think about as we move forward with AI. We want to be very mindful of those things, but pretty amazing what I've been able to do for myself with my clients and seen others do. And so that's why I love coming in and talking about it in forums like this.
It's like a search engine, but so much more than that, right? Because it's interactive and it takes ideas, and we can have fun with that rabbit hole in a second. And yes, I did save you for last on this question, Paula, because like I said, you just have this aura of loving AI. So why?
Oh, that's a very long story. And it starts with my dad getting a job quite accidentally at Hewlett Packard when he got out of Vietnam, so in the Philippines. So I've been around technology literally my whole life. But the thing that really excites me is how I started in this particular journey was I was doing research in Rwanda in Nicaragua with people. We were developing apps to deliver agricultural information to people with low literacy skills. And that was when I saw the magic of like, oh my gosh, what we can do with technology to bring services or information to people who would normally be left out of that conversation. And I have to be honest, when November 30th, 2022, when ChatGPT dropped, I was like, no way. For someone who's been around tech my whole life, it took me like 3 months to actually get and start playing with it, because at the same time, I recognized that technology could be an incredible leveler and bring opportunity to people. This was something new and different that I had been waiting for my whole life. And I honestly thought I was a little nervous about it. Yeah, believe it or not, me, who's like totally AI, can't wait to be for the singularity, have the chip planted in my brain. I was nervous at first because the thing that I love about it is also the thing that could be destructive about it. It could be the equalizer for bringing information and tools and to people who need it at the same time. It can also take away. So kind of love it, hate it, you decide.
Okay, and I love that you threw your origin story in there. So I'm going to go back to Chris and Jason. What was it, a big light bulb, or were you just waiting for it and so excited? Jason.
So, it felt when AI, at least when it hit the mainstream, like with ChatGPT that was accessible easily through the browser and stuff. That's when I really started leaning into trying it out. And it felt a lot like when I got into podcasting in early 2005, although AI is going to be even bigger than podcasting. What I mean by that is like, it was this nice conjunction of like, I have this technical programming background. I have 20 years of entrepreneurial and consulting marketing experience. And I'm always looking for like the more, the most efficient but still aligned ways for my clients to do the things that they need to do in their daily business for marketing and sales and client delivery, because I'm all about efficiency and scaling, right? And so, when it showed up, at first I was like, well, how good is this really going to be? I think we're all skeptical, but I've always been a bit of an early adopter with technological things like this. So I just dove in and started trying things out. And so, it was, and then I couldn't help but think like, wow, this is like when I was growing up as a kid watching Star Trek, thinking how cool that they get to talk to their computers. And like, it's like, wow, suddenly I'm like, I feel like I'm living in the future here. So I made pretty quickly a decision like, okay, I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like, but AI is absolutely going to be a part of my brand and my business now, both in what I teach and what I use within my business, the systems, all those things. So that's what has brought me to this point now.
Okay, so you were ready and like you saw opportunity from the get-go.
Yeah, just an opportunity that felt uniquely, fitted to my interests and skills. So I latched onto it just like I did with podcasting back in the day.
Awesome. And so what about you, Chris?
I think what I noticed early on is that everybody was slapping the AI sticker on everything, and how much of it we were really kind of already using before, I mean, when OpenAI, was doing, that felt like a real sort of watershed moment. It was like, even things like Canva and all of these things and Photoshop, there was all kinds of generative AI types of things that were happening before that was actually happening. But I think when you're actually having conversations with it, I think that's when it hit for me. It was like when I can open up my phone and I can just hit the microphone and just start having just blabbing my squirrel brain stuff into this thing. And then it was organizing things well for me. I was like, this is assistive intelligence that I wish I had 15 years ago, being a musician and learning how to do all these things. And, in my bedroom in 1979, trying to learn an Aerosmith riff or something like that. And then trying to, stick in 52 floppy disks and trying to record all of those things. And now it's like, all you got to do is type in a prompt, like, walk this way, mixed with Nickelback, and you have the song. You don't need to learn anything. And so for me, that kind of stuff is crazy, but it's crazy awesome because as humans, if we can understand how all this stuff works, we can rise above it, and we can, utilize these things to do things better, right? And understand that there's things that humans can do that this can't do. Like, talked about empathy, I talked about relationships, I talked about, leadership. These are kinds of things that you can ask what I should do if I have an argument with my partner, and it will give you information that might work, right? But is it real, like, tactical things?
Is that the best way to use AI?
People,
which is the right way for the toilet paper roll?
Okay, well, you're going to make me open up my app and start talking?
Yeah, I would really love to know its answer to that. And Paula, you're just having
It's over, by the way. It's over.
I knew this as well. But
of course. Or GIF or GIF? Are we going to go there too?
Oh, yeah.
What was that, Paula?
I'm sorry, Deborah, you were saying? There was a meme going around for a while. I don't know how true this is, where the patent for the toilet paper holder was under, and it was supposed to like decide once and for all. That was the answer. So there you go.
Oh, wait, you're saying that under is the answer? No, it's over.
I can't. I have ChatGPT open on my other screen here. I could just ask.
Well,
anyway, I'm sorry. This is a sidebar. What were you saying?
Well, I was saying, first of all, I'm fascinated that Chris likes the idea of using it to settle disagreements with his partner.
I didn't say I liked it. I just said that people do that.
Have you really used it for that?
No, I have not.
See, you just took me down a fascination rabbit hole.
You want to, Deb. I know you do. It's okay. You want to talk to it about toilet paper and relationships. That's fine. You do you. That's okay.
I've got you on the top. I can move. I have the power to move you to the bottom of the screen. So you just.
But listen, ChatGPT, AI, it doesn't matter. Deb is always right. So let's just.
Oh, so can we program it? So Okay, that's good to know.
Deb
What was
GPT.
Chat DEB if we're staying on brand for me.
How dare I?
I do lead Debinars, and I do start the year in December. So Chat DEB really is on brand for me.
Amazing.
Because I don't have anything else other than the 10 other projects that are, as we say in LA or Hollywood, various projects at multiple stages of development. Anyway, Paula, you were just having the best time listening to Chris and Jason's origin story. What is it? I mean, so you not only love AI, you love other people's love of AI. Is that what I'm getting from you?
Oh, yes, I do. I get so excited. I'm like, this is like my total playground. And when people start telling me about what they're using it for, I will often stop. I have my little portable podcaster. I think I got it Micro Center on the back of the clearance rack. And I'm like, hold on a second, tell me more. And I'll like grab it out, or I'll grab out my phone. And for my upcoming podcast, I need to talk to all you here because I'm like, so behind on my project. But I love hearing stories, and the sometimes the more what you would think are unexpected are the best. Like recently I was at a networking event, and this fellow, this gentleman had been in his field for 20, 30 years in cleaning and industrial cleaning and building management. And he came to me and he said, I just started making my staff use ChatGPT to write emails because I want us to look better for our clients. And I'm like, well, really? He said, yeah. And I left my last company because they were too tech focused. And now he's telling people like, you need to get on board with this because I want you to be at a certain level. It was a crazy, interesting conversation. So yeah, I do stop people on the street and say, wait, tell me more. If I overhear something, I've stopped people in the bus. I'm like, wait a minute, do you know this research? Yeah. I'm that person.
Isn't there, though, a tendency, or is it possible to overuse ChatGPT or whatever
100%.
platform you're using?
Sure.
Because
sure, yeah.
Okay, so I have this bit. So I am, as you know, author, workshop leader, book proposals specialist. But whenever I hear somebody say, "Oh, you can use ChatGPT to help you write your book," I just want to throw like rocks at them. Is there a reason I should not have such a violent reaction to it? Okay, Jason, please share.
Okay, so here's a case study. I said earlier that I like helping experts with a huge body of work that they know they could be leveraging better to channel that more efficiently into their content strategy and courses and workshops and books. So I had a client who for 7 years had been trying to finish this career defining book. And she had some, bits and pieces and articles, and she knew a lot of it was there, at least to get the first draft of the manuscript together. And she's an artist, so she was very resistant to this idea of AI at first, right? She's like, my thinking's so nuanced. I don't know, is it going to be robotic? So she had all the concerns. I said, let's just give it a try. It's not going to write it for you. It's going to be a strategic thinking partner. And so I put together an AI that brought together into a knowledge base all of her IP she wanted to draw from. We did a voice analysis to help train it on her voice. Again, the goal was not to have it write it for her, but at least that if it was helping to draft stuff, it could be as close as possible. Mm-hmm. And we gave it very careful instructions. I said, like, how would you like this to work with? And she said, I have ADHD. It'd be great if it knew that and could like help break things down for me in the right way. So we put all that together. Well, fast forward a few weeks, I was checking in with her and she's like, I can't believe it. Before it was like I was looking at a sky of stars and just kind of like dazzled by all my different ideas and content. And now I can say like, hey, let's look at these 7 stars and draw some constellations. And then I arrive at, that's what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And so she uses it to like, things, she doesn't want it to replace her thinking. She doesn't want it to replace her voice, but she can say things like, hey, have I already said something like this in the book? Can you look at the arc of the whole thing and see like what themes do I need to strengthen? Can you help me? What have I already written about this that I could pull in and be able to, bolster with my point here? So again, it's not about having it right for you. I think you got to look at the whole process, and writing is like one piece. And AI can help you, everything from the research to the brainstorming to the outlining to the, to the editing to the And if you know how to use it properly at each of those stages, it can accelerate whether you're writing a book or something else. Now, you have to be careful. So it'd be very easy to fall into this like lazy thinking trap. And, of course, you want to be careful about any research it pulls in. Like she knows I told her about all those kinds of things, but within 4 months, she finished it. She got a major book publisher, did a 90 reader beta test, and was able to collect all that data. She never would, ADHD, there's no way she was going to do a huge beta reader, but we brought all this data in. She's finished the second round using all that feedback, because it's a very user, you use it in the studio as a performing artist. And that all came, she said, I wouldn't have been able to do this without the AI that you made for me.
Okay, so we're going back to, it's good if it is a tool, but as long as it's not a be all end all.
Sure. It all means, it depends on what you mean, I guess, by be all end all, but that's why I'm saying it's not a search engine. It's not an input output tool. It is a strategic thinking partner that you can give the context you need to align with your vision, your values, your goals, your, what you're trying to do, your audience. And that's what I helped her to do.
Okay. Yeah, Deb, I think too many people are looking at a lot of this AI stuff as the end result, as opposed to what Jason's kind of talking about is the process, right? And so,
how many having fun still. I love that.
So it's like, so many people, like when you write a book, Deb, did you write the book entirely by yourself? You didn't send anything to someone and say, hey, what do you think about this?
That is correct.
You did. You didn't. You never. Every one of the books that you've written, you've never sort of nobody looked over it and said spell checked it or.
Okay. You've got me on that one. But for both Your Goal Guide and 52 Secrets, I wrote book proposals of my own hand. Yes, there were conversations around it, and as especially Jason knows, because his partner in GEM, Mike Roderick, is in the book. I interviewed 60 people, but a few of them were email interviews, but most of them were Zoom conversations where I personally took the conversations and turned it into their vignette in the book. So yes, spell check, editorial review by my publisher, obviously formatting, all of the things, but the content was all me. Yeah.
So I think most people are not Deb. Like I think we can.
Well, I think we can agree with that one. Yes.
Right. And I know, I'm not an accomplished best-selling author either, but I do know that I couldn't do it alone. And I think, I have a tight community of actual humans and people, but like trying to, throw it over the fence. Hey, Jason, what do you think about this chapter? Or, hey, Paula, should I word it this way? Or, having those sort of it takes time and whatever. Now you've got this assistant that never sleeps, that can give you information relatively quickly, can get you unstuck, relatively quickly. And for someone like me, or someone like what Jason's talking about, someone that has ADHD or something like that, where they never would ever be able to write that book. Now they put that out into the world, and someone else, can be positively affected by it. I think that's really where I think it, not everybody is Deb. And there is only one Deb. Let's
keep complimenting me, and yes, I will let you keep talking.
I know how to stay on this live stream, everyone. I know how to stay here. Compliment Deb at every point.
But what you're saying, I think, goes back to Paula's first point, which is it gives access to things that people normally would not get access to. Are we driving the train in the right direction?
I think so. Yeah. One of my new roles is I'm moving to a new school in September. And one of the challenges I will have is that 30% are not English speakers. And I get by on my Spanish is okay. But the other population is Haitian Creole. No experience there, but I still have to teach, and I still have to engage these students, and so that not only do we reach their education goals, but as an entrepreneurship teacher, that's also what I do. I'm also giving them the skills to manage this new world. And we're already talking now. This is a brand new school for me, and education is very AI wary, as it should be. That's a whole other thing that I work with. Imagine what I could do. We've talked about building a large language, pulling down an open source model, building out our tiny LLM, and actually with the kids collaborating on building an in-classroom tool that speaks Haitian Creole, Spanish, and brings it all together. Now, that to me is amazing. Just think of those kids who would just spend that class time just like checking out because they're not engaged. They're actually going to be able to not only participate, but thrive because we'll be able to use this. So yeah, I get excited. But back to Chris's point, I just wanted to just go back a little bit. What you said, I wrote this down. I hope I wrote it correctly, but we need to learn how to use it. And this is the drum that I beat constantly is, Deborah, when you were talking about, can I use this to build or create a book, to write a book? Right now, there's so little focus on AI literacy and actually what the animal is that people do jump in and say, oh, hey, I can write a book without really understanding what's under the engine. Like I teach what's in the engine. If you understand the engine, you could drive any car. And when we actually have, or at least I think so anyway. So, but when we have the tools, when we actually have what's literacy, when we have courses and we have good teachers teaching what this thing is, people will not just jump in and assume they can write a book with it. That's my hope anyway.
Yeah.
The news is telling us that we can do that, but we really can't.
Right. And the other, my other part of the pet peeve of it, and this just another part of Deb life is I am a freelance writer, and I will occasionally put out queries because I do food writing and food podcasting because why wouldn't I? But I will put out these calls for recipes and stories. I use SOS, Source of Sources, Peter Shankman's company most of the time, but I will get, and this happened last week, I had 3 submissions in a row that were so clearly AI generated because it was the same exact language and formatting. And those people they go in my trash. Because there are enough people who will write, oh, I'm so glad you're gathering stories. This is my mother's recipe of this, and it's meaningful to me for this reason. Not, thank you for this opportunity. I mean, even the subject lines are AI generated.
Yeah.
And why? I mean, it's like people think that they can cheat. At least not on my watch, right? So how do we spread the message, I guess, that it is a tool, that it is not everything, so I don't have an inbox inundated with a dozen carbon copy recipes.
You're going to continue to have that anyway. We had that before AI, copy and paste, like horrible templates. Right. We had that anyway. People are always going to take the shortcut, I think. But I heard a great news story earlier today where a professor was saying, because lots of professors are like, this is horrible, where we're just getting a lot of submitted stuff clearly by AI. And it was like a chat thread in social, and then it turned into a news story. And he said, yeah, actually very simple solution. You grade the process, not the output. And so he said, I am getting better submissions than I have in years because I've told them they can use ChatGPT, but they have to show me their process. And it's not just a grade on the output, right? And so if you think about it, it's about the process, not the output. Then I think that's one of. And so you said, can we use ChatGPT too much earlier? Absolutely. And I think one of the ways is if we just let it replace our thinking, because then we're not thinking. And whether it's AI or anything else, it's just not going to be good output if we don't engage our thinking. But that's how I look at it.
Okay, you have to show the work, just like with math.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay, Chris, thoughts? No, Deb, I have no thoughts. Of course I have thoughts. Go on.
Every once in a while I have one. And I just think that there is a lot of this where, you'll get an email from someone that that you've had conversations with prior, and you read it and you're just like, oh God, It's like catching your gym teacher smoking behind the gym or something like that. You're like, not you. Come on. You and I, we like each other. Why you got rocket emojis and you're delving and forging relationships and stuff in this email? This is not you. And I don't know, it just kind of sucks. And I think people just have to maybe learn the hard way that you're going to lose some trust if you're really just kind of like taking this easy button route and rubber stamping content and using prompts and so this is where people aren't really like spending most of their time. You're going to have lots of extra time, ladies and gentlemen. As of like 2 years ago until now, you've got a lot of extra time that AI is helping you get. This is where you hone relationships. This is where you dig into an email and type an email in your voice. Actually do that. Create a video. Hit the microphone button on your phone and send a voicemail. Speak to that person. Like these are what you do with your extra time that you're getting, that you're creating that. So because these relationships that you have with people, the relationship I have with Deb when we had her on Dealcasters and I've been on these shows, like we have it during these live streams, right? And before and afterwards. I am never going to send an AI email to Deb. It's never going to happen. Deb, if I ever do that, you call me out, please. Like these
I think you'd be too scared. We've got this. We've got you on tape saying you're never going to do that.
On tape.
Tape? Is that what this is called? God, my Generation Xer is showing. Sorry.
Oh my God. That's awesome. This is not any fun at all. I knew it. I knew we would not have any fun, Deb.
Boring.
I have to say, so Chris, you got a shout out and a hello from Florence, who's watching
Florence.
us live.
Florence is awesome.
You might be watching the replay, but I am live at the Deb Method every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And we appreciate you tuning in live, of course. And I guess that's something else a robot can't do. They cannot tune into a live show and comment. Can we make a list of not yet? What? Okay.
Maybe. I haven't digested all of the news from last week, but it's quite possible it's happened.
Oh, the bots can comment. But what about real people posing as right? I mean, we're pretty sure Florence is real.
Florence is real. No doubt.
Okay.
Just ask Florence.
Well, it's going to become more important to show that you are human, I think. Both audiences will get more savvy, and then people will make the mistakes that then cost them their grade, cost them, like the lawyers that got in trouble for submitting a thing that, didn't even have accurate case examples in it. People will make those mistakes, go like, oh shoot, I need to be more thoughtful about this. They'll acquire the skills. So we're going to have this messy middle, and there will always be people who misuse it, but we'll have this messy middle for a little while. But I do think that just all the things, we got more savvy about how to use social media well. We got more savvy about how to use search engines well. And so, that'll come with time, which is why, I love discussions like this, where it's like, hey, let's share the perspectives. Let's talk about both sides. Let's give people a different way to look at it.
Real people talking about machine interaction. I mean, come on. But you're right. I tend to think of when you talk about the messy middle, when self-publishing first started, this was 25 years ago. Everybody was throwing a book together and it was awful. And for, I would say, at least 15 or so years, self-publishing got a bad rap. Because people were, so I can relate it to that, right? And I still tell people, try and sell your book first. But if you want to hybrid or self-publish, at least you know how to make it look good. So it'll be really interesting to watch people fall through, to see what falls through the cracks. And again, I am probably, I don't want to say a harsh critic, or I guess this is as skeptical as you are ever going to see me on one of my shows, because I get that there are benefits. I mean, let's talk about voice to text recording. I remember I've been a journalist for my entire, forever. And you used to have to train. Do you remember Dragon Natural? I'm sure Paula especially knows. Dragon Naturally Speaking, you would spend hours training it to recognize your voice, and it still didn't work.
Yes.
So for me, transcriptions, it's like, that is for me the biggest godsend of AI, because talk about time saving. And I also love the idea of AI, because I'm big on time swapping, goals, projects, whatever. And I love the idea that you should be using, well, I can use the word, it's my show. When you have bonus time, it is the perfect opportunity to use it for more human-to-human connection. And for that reason alone, I think I'm probably a little bit more pro AI than I was before we started this conversation. So thank you for that.
Well, that's nice, but we need skeptics. So, keep the skepticism going too. But I'm glad to hear that we're also giving you some other things to think about. That's great.
Well, not everything is all or nothing, but I'm really curious and I don't want people to fall flat, but I think you're absolutely right. We're going to see people using it in really strange ways, and they're going to realize that they can't use it for a cheat. So I like that part. That's very interesting to me. What do you think is the best use of AI for each of you? And while you were thinking, we also have Jamie Hicks saying smart people right here. Thank you, James.
Dr. Hicks.
And then Florence is saying hi to James. So there you go. So again, I am 99.9% sure these are real life people interacting with us during the live show. And that makes me so happy. So
James would not allow a fake version of himself. There can only be one James Hicks. I can promise you that.
Amazing. And if someone ever tried to replicate me, I am pretty sure, guaranteed, they cannot get me 100%.
No way.
Yeah. Okay. Did I vamp long enough? What is your favorite use of AI, Paula?
Oh gosh, this changes some days. It changes by the day and sometimes like by the hour. I play with all of them. I think right now that my favorite use is I'm mostly in ChatGPT, but I do use all of them. And since I'm going back to teaching and also continuing with Seva, and now building out AI curriculums and education projects, my favorite use of AI, and this might be specialized for what I'm doing, but is to create really unusual and creative ways to teach. Like, for example, for the musicians in the room, I'm just going to say I'm sorry, but I created an album with Suno called the Savin Sessions that's all about how to use AI in folk songs and bluegrass. It's hilarious. And I'm also writing a guidebook to go with it. And the idea is that it could be used in like small teams, could be used, say, in a church group, it could be used in a family to go through basically what AI is, what it's not, where it came from. There's even a song, Attention is All You Need, about how ChatGPT, how the transformer actually was invented. But here's something I would have never considered before is using AI to build an AI tool to teach AI using music and song and just like, really crazy things that would have taken me a while in the past to pull that together, and it came together within a few days.
So is AI really, if you give a mouse a cookie, one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another?
Yes, that's what happens. And soon you have subscriptions to all the things, and you're spending a fortune in AI tools every month. But yeah, those are my toys.
Fun.
I'm having fun.
Love it.
Jason, what is your favorite use of AI?
Yeah, so we all have a certain amount of like cognitive energy to use throughout the day. Same as we have like a limited amount of time to use in the day. And, we think a lot about how to use our time well. I mean, I'm sure that's what a lot of people get out of working with you, Deb, right? Is like how to use their time towards the goals that matter to them the most. I like using AI to help me use my cognitive energy towards the things that I'm best at, enjoy most, and where my brain needs to be engaged. So what do I mean by that? Sometimes when it comes to making some initial decisions or doing some initial research or whatever, it's like, I don't want to waste my cognitive energy on that. So having AI pull in a bunch of ideas for me first, or just doing a brain dump that it can organize for me, or saying, hey, I'm not sure, I'm thinking about this, or this, just give me some pros and cons really quick. So it can help me make some decisions faster. And then I know where to really engage my brain deeply when it's like, okay, this is where I want to bring my ideas forward. This is where I want to synthesize something new. This is where I want to convey in a certain way. And so I find that I get through the day without crashing quite as early, because I know when to offload some of that cognitive energy to AI. And I mean, and there's research about this, right? You know, I have a certain amount of like decision-making power, willpower sets during the day. And so, you know, that maybe that's a little bit more esoteric or high level way of thinking about it, but that's my favorite use. If you want something specific, that it's doing the brain dump when I'm like too many ideas or I'm overwhelmed, and it's just saying, make sense out of this, and then help me come up with criteria to prioritize it. And that's been really, really effective for me, whether I'm trying to decide what to do today, or whether I'm trying to decide which strategy to use to grow my business this quarter. I like using it to kind of talk to myself really and arrive at those decisions more quickly.
Well, I liked both examples, but you got me with the, as you called it, more esoteric one. It helps you be more efficient when your brain is on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, I don't need to sit here and think about subject lines for 10 minutes. I can say, you know what? Give me 15 of them and help me assess them quickly. And then I can engage my brain to go like, I like that one. It's like the stars constellation thing, right? So.
Right. And again, it's you interacting with the material, not you telling the material to go have fun and send me a postcard.
Right. Yeah.
Gurhez, what's your favorite use of AI?
Those are both fantastic, and I'm guilty of both, thankfully. But my favorite one, without question, is the fact that everything that you do can become your legacy. And so what I mean by this is like everything that I do is recorded, is transcribed. Everything that I do for the clients that I serve is recorded, is transcribed. And at any moment in time, I can go and snag that. And I don't have to, like, we'll do a live stream and then it's not over. It's never over. That's just the beginning, right? And so for years and years and years, even long after I'm, 6 feet under and, pushing up daisies, or, whatever cliche you want to use about me being DED, dead, there is content that is going to be able to be repurposed that hopefully can help someone that is still on the earth. And so that's, for me, that's what gets me excited about this stuff, is repurposing. I know that's a word that everybody, likes to use, but man, it's when you do repurposing like 80% of the day for yourself and for other people, AI just pours gas on that flame. And really you can just create this repository that you can just put in a prompt and say, what was that thing I said with James Hicks on the Creator collab when I talked about Apple? And it's there, and you have the video clip, and you can create something because you wanted it. And it was, and so for me, that's it. It's legacy. It's taking everything and not having to remember it in the squirrel brain. I keep on saying squirrel brain. What is with the squirrel brain tonight? And
Squirrel brain,
really is
rabbit hole.
Yeah. And so it's not just like, don't create content just to create this pile of mediocrity. Be excellent with it and be tactical with it, and say, hey, I'm not just creating content to create this pile of leaves in the front yard. I am trying to really be tactical about what I can do to not just help the people that I'm alive on the earth to do, but like I can take it and make it repurpose and create impact on people long after I'm gone.
Okay, Skeptic Deb is just putting on her hat for one more moment.
Uh-oh, Skeptic Deb.
This is great. No, I love all this thing, but my legacy is this.
Yeah.
And the yellow one behind it. What is to stop? Okay. What is the role? I'm going to ask it in a positive way. What is the role of a consultant then? Is there still the need when people can have conversations with ChatGPT for free?
All right, is that?
I have an answer to that.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I was
good,
just gonna say I
please.
didn't know if it was for who. Yeah.
Yeah, I was guessing Paula was going to jump in. Okay, go.
Oh, well, yes, there is still a need for people because people have wisdom, and that's something that AI is not able to do yet. We'll see within the next few years. But what people do, and this is one of the things that I talk about, is the human to technology relationship. And when you are working with a person of experience like Jason or Chris, you are getting with them this body of knowledge that has been filtered through so many experiences that it has been, I don't want to say crystallized, it has become something other than the original piece of knowledge. So when AI puts in a prompt, you get the output, right? And with reasoning models, you might get the output, which is then thought again and thought again and thought again. And it becomes a better answer, but that answer has not gone through the lens of a human being interacting in the world, being able to then take it and say, this is what it means. That's wisdom. We still need people for that.
I accept that answer.
Okay.
Chris, do you, or Jason? Well, and the reason why your answer is it resonates very well with me is I am all about, you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. And I work with people in teams on figuring out what is your mission, what makes you unique, and how you help. And the fact that people do that and machines can't does give me hope. So I accept that as a perfectly reasonable way, a reasonable reason to embrace the good in knowing that it is not going to replace people, or at least not yet, or probably not in our lifetimes. We don't know. Chris?
I think it's a lot of people and consultants or graphic artists, or you can name a bunch of people that are afraid to lose their jobs, right? Because of AI. I think let's just kind of put it out there. And I think that for the most part, it's going to go a certain way, and then it's going to come back because in the end, can you trust, AI to give you accurate information? And, you're going to pay whatever you're going to pay, which is a considerable less amount, right, to AI to give you your consultation versus paying somebody who is a seasoned expert who is probably more expensive. You're going to get what you pay for in the end. And I still feel like a lot of people just don't trust yet something to where, especially something very important to them. There needs to be humans involved in it. And if that human is using AI for, whatever, I don't think there's a problem with that. But I just feel like, replacing consultants outright is just, I just don't feel like that's going to be a thing. Does that answer the question?
Yes. And
okay.
but you also said you get what you pay for. And
absolutely.
if it's free, you do not have that knowledge base, the humanity, the levels of experience. You are nodding, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, I love everything that's being said here. And it's, I guess the other thing I might add to it is there's been many times in history that we've had this conversation of is such and such tech going to replace, such and such skills, people, and certainly industrial revolution, information age, huge shifts, right? And we always adapt, new needs emerge, new skills emerge, new, training and positions. And now what we need to be cognizant of is that we don't just like go so fast that people get left in the dust, right? That people have access to AI if it becomes this essential thing, just like the internet is now an essential thing, that people have the skills to use it, just like internet skills, that people have, in their own field with whatever their vocation is that if it is something that starts getting threatened by or partially replaced by that, they have, that there are new ways that they can grow and develop and apply what it is that they do. So I don't think that they will get replaced, especially if we're careful and thoughtful about how we progress. And along with what everyone else said, wisdom, discernment, right now it's just not there yet. So I'm not worried about consultants getting replaced.
Do you remember the first, I'd say 5 or 10 years after the internet became mainstream? So we're like 08, 09, whatever. I just remember people said, I think pretty much up until the pandemic, do I need a website? Is it too late for me to get a website? Is it too late for me to start social media? I think as long as people realize that it is never too late to embrace tech, then they will get some benefit from it. So there you go. Oh my goodness, this has been so good. I knew it was going to be.
Has been? Is it over?
No, we still have.
God.
I know the time.
We still have 4 hours, right? We're still going to go for 4 hours. No?
We're into the conclusion phase, Chris, and I know
thank you.
It's terribly upsetting for you, but we will still be on a little bit longer. So take a deep breath.
Okay.
We're good.
I told myself I wouldn't do this.
What I like to leave the audience with some tangible action items. So let's gift some goals. So what is something someone could do today, tonight, tomorrow to immediately embrace AI, find ways to make AI part of what it is they do? Jason, want to go first?
Yeah, so I'll build off of what I shared as one of my favorite uses of AI, and I will challenge people with the goal of using AI to do a brain dump and then ask a useful question that will help them move forward. Whether they're overwhelmed by too many ideas, whether whatever the case may be. So, for instance, especially with it's on your phone, you can hit the microphone button to speak into it. I love going for a walk as I'm just talking to it. It can make sense of a lot of gibberish all over the place, right? So whether it's creative ideas you have, whether you're overwhelmed by your day and all your to-do list, brain dump that in and then ask a meaningful question. What's my first step? Can you help me prioritize this according to criteria that are valuable to me? Please organize this into an outline that can make better sense for me. Please write this into a draft I can share with. So, that would be my challenge, is to try something like do the brain dump and then ask a good question and turn it into something useful.
I do like that. Do you have a good example of a way that you have used this for yourself?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, in my business, whether again it's in the day in the morning and I've got a bunch of ideas of what I want to do that day, or let's just say I'm trying to decide how to grow my business, and I'm getting emails and I'm in a mastermind and I have a coach and everyone's telling me all these different ideas and I have my own ideas and I'm just not sure where to start. So what I like doing is I'll brain dump all that into the AI. Here's what I'm trying to do. Here's what's important to me. Here are some of the things I'm considering. You can also say, hey, give me a few more ideas maybe I haven't considered. Bam, it organizes that. Then say, please help me prioritize for growing my business. Help me prioritize this to the top 1 or 2 strategies that will work best for me according to what I've said is important, or ask me questions. And then I say, give it criteria like, hey, help me prioritize this according to impact, the possibility, like what kind of potential does it have to actually impact the goal that's most important, whether that's cash right now or, increase in customers, whatever. Ease, how hard or easy is it to implement the strategy? And then I'll also say, like, you could also say something like alignment with your strengths, for instance, or, you could even put in like, cost of money if you're trying to reduce that. You get to choose the criteria, but it's really good at analyzing according to criteria to prioritize things for you. And then you go from too many ideas to the 1 or 2 ranked ideas, and you can just focus in on that and let the others sit to the side. So that's something that I do regularly that I find really, really helpful.
Awesome. Well, I am a huge fan of brainstorming, so I am intrigued by the idea of letting AI help you brainstorm better. So I might I might actually take on these goals myself. Ooh, who knows? Okay, Paula, what goal do you want to gift?
My goodness, my goal may be less interesting now that Jason has given his, but in
there are no bad goals. Only
okay, excellent. One of the frameworks I use to teach AI is the SAVA method, and the A is ask. So my goal is ask more questions. And what I mean by that is if you've never used AI, just go in and describe your life. Describe, are you a parent? What is your biggest challenges? What do you do for work? And just start asking it questions. How do I best use AI? What's a good use case? And use case is just a fancy way of a focused way of using the thing so that you get a result. Just ask more questions. Ask how to use it. You could go into Claude, any of them really, and say, how do I best use you? And it will tell you, right? So, and now if you are just now starting to get into what this AI stuff is. Now, the other thing, if you are already using it and you're putting into prompts, however way you've learned prompting, end your prompt with, before you begin, do you have any questions? Because it will ask you clarifying questions so that you will work towards a better result. So just ask. Just remember, ask questions. That's my goal.
Ooh.
I think that's awesome, Paul. I love that one. Very accessible, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, Chris.
Great. I get to go after those two. Holy
You are so welcome.
God, I should not have said what I said earlier. You're doing this to me. You're making me go like, no, I'm kidding. I would just say this. I know, we haven't spoken specifically about tools, and actually, I love that. I love that most of this conversation was about overarching mindset and very sort of tactical ways of organizing yourself, and not a, hey, did you know if you go to Claude Sonnet 4.0 and you type in, like that kind of stuff just feels like, tomorrow it's outdated. So I love that this whole conversation was more like mindset overarching and less sort of specific to each one of these LLMs. But I would highly suggest that if someone who maybe just has a ChatGPT subscription, or maybe that's just, they're just using Gemini, or they're just using, what really just sort of, again, I'm pouring gas on the fire for me, was to use an aggregator, which I use, is called Magi, but there's also one called Poe, and there's Merlin and others. And what that does is you pay like a one-time subscription, and you get all of them. You get all the LLMs, you get all of the image to video models, you get all of that kind of stuff. It feels like it should be illegal, but it's not. And it allows you to go in and you just pay it month to month. I never pay a yearly cost for any of these services because they change so rapidly, and all of a sudden you're jumping to another one, you're spending way too much money, which can be a huge concern, especially for someone who just doesn't know where they should do what. And some of these models, like Claude, is really great for writing. It's great for social media. It's great for things like that. And it's not great for other things, where ChatGPT is better. And you might want to use, image models for one or the other. So using an aggregator like Magi allows you to just pay one price, and you just kind of go in and play with different things and kind of say, oh, I really like the way this helped me do this. I really like the way this helped me do this. And you're not paying individual subscription fees for all of these different services. You're paying one thing. It's all under one sort of umbrella. And it really, you don't have that budget concern. You don't have that cost concern. How many words am I using here? And do I have this subscription? Because these things change all of the time. You can just kind of jump in and use the top models of all of these things. And it really allows you to find your groove, not contingent upon one particular LLM. And it really helps you just to kind of create your voice within all of these multiple LLMs. So that's kind of my thinking. And I know that's not necessarily a beginner thing, But if you're really wanting to kind of dig in on this kind of stuff and figure out how am I going to do social media here? How am I going to create graphics here? How am I going to be able to do video here? All those kinds of things. If you're using an aggregator like Magi or Poe or something like that, I think it's a great way to get going.
And so an aggregator is like an all-in-one platform
Mhm.
where you get all the AI tools in one place.
Correct. Yeah, you get something like 65 different things, and you organize all your prompts. You can create workspaces. So for me, I have multiple different clients, and so I have a different workspace for each one of my clients. And I'll use Claude to do social media here. I have all of these prompts that are different, and it's all very organized for me. And I'm able to use deep research. I'm able to use Claude. I mean, there's like 60 different types of deals, and I only pay like one monthly fee for it.
How much is Magi for that? Is it? I mean, it's a lot more
$50
than
a month. And I would,
okay.
I don't tell Dustin Stout, but I pay 10 times that much. It's amazing.
Right. So for the price of a little more than 2 times what you might pay for ChatGPT, you get
you get all the ChatGPT models. You get Claude. You get deep research. You get Gemini, Kling, Flux, Laura. It's incredible.
It's great.
And then you also don't have 60 tabs open at the same time as you're
Yes.
bouncing.
And you're cutting and pasting all your prompts.
And you're cutting and pasting, right?
So what you're saying is all the time you save by using AI, you spend playing with AI tools. And then eventually you will save that time again.
I play with intention, Deb.
Yeah, I know that. But we were talking earlier about time swapping. What do you do with your free time? I'm guessing
I play
some of it
bass.
is spent, but some of it is spent playing with AI tools.
Sure.
Nothing
I mean,
wrong with
playing.
that.
Yeah.
Guilty.
And yes, we could probably go on another hour, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Where can people learn more about each of you? Paula?
You can learn more about me at saveadigital.com. I'm also working on a project called Human at the Center, which is currently a collaborative newsletter between another educator and a parent and myself about what it doesn't mean right now to be a human at the center of AI. And it will, yes, become a podcast. I'm working on that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll get there. And it will be a book that I'm starting to, the stories that I'm collecting, when I accost people on the bus, it's like, tell me more. Well, these stories are going to become a book because from my background, coming from a military working class kind of ethos and place, I'm beginning to see how this is going to play out in society. So that's Human at the Center.
Fun. And at some point, I'm going to be like, so where's that book proposal, Paula? Now, it does. I'll send you articles. I'll do the why I love the idea of getting this out into the mainstream world. We'll save that for a sidebar. But I think that's awesome that I think this is a through line for all of you, all of us, is when you do what you love, you have that enthusiasm. Why wouldn't you share it with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, where can people learn more about you?
I'm at castahead.net. That's where they can learn more about me, and then connect with me on LinkedIn. That's usually where I hang out and do my thing. But yeah, it's castahead.net. I'm excited about Paula's podcast. Are you on Substack yet?
Not yet, officially.
All right. Anybody else here Substackian? Or
Soon.
Well, as you know, I did a Gold Chat on Substack a few weeks ago with Jim as one of the guests.
I know him.
And I'm still, I was actually thinking before we got on the conversation today that I'm going to start posting my recaps to Substack. I actually made a note because I don't want to say it left my head since the conversation. It's just, where and how do we spend our time? But it's like, it's the new month. So why not, shake things up a little bit and share the content other places. Jason, where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, we find out about me at jasonvanorden.com. And one specific thing I'd love to point people to is if you go to jasonvanorden.com/AI, you will get an entire free workshop that I've previously taught to clients, and a worksheet to help you to design your own mini business advisor, your first version of a Jarvis that actually understands your business, and it'll make it so much easier to do this stuff because it already knows who you are, who you serve, what your offers are, and all that stuff. And it's not as complex as you're thinking to do. So jasonvanorden.com/AI. I would love to share that with anybody who would find it useful.
Awesome.
Jason makes me want to go watch Iron Man again.
Yeah, he kind of does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And if you go to thedebmethod.com/blog, you can read the recap and get all of the links. And I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And as I said before, I am live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific for Goal Chat. You can also subscribe to Goal Chat, the podcast, on the Marketing Podcast Network. And if you like food, why not subscribe to my other show, Taste Buds with Deb, as well. And if you need a little bit of extra encouragement on your goals, you can go to my website to see how I can help you, and or grab a copy of your goal guide, and or 52 secrets for goal setting and goal getting, how to stay focused, grow your network, and get more done in less time. Because isn't that, well, the whole concept for that book is life is choose your own adventure. So see what advice worked for other people and incorporate the things that work for you more into your life, which is really the point of the show. You know, we learn from all of you, and then we can pick and choose what we're going to incorporate to make our lives better, more exciting, more fulfilled, but most importantly, to spread the message about the things that we love so other people can have a happier and more productive lives. Thank you, friends. What final thoughts do you want to leave people with? I'm going to let you go first this time, Chris, because I don't want you to think.
Because you made me go last time, and I was man.
I just like to shake things up. Final thought, Chris.
Final thought. You're awesome, Deb. Thank you so much for having me on. I feel like I got better tonight by listening to all you amazing people. I got some real tactical ways of utilizing AI, and that's what's amazing about doing live streams like this. And it's just a great way to not just learn, but to network, meet new people. And AI can't do that, at least not yet.
AI cannot network, at least not yet. I'm going to keep that as your final thought because amazing. Jason, final thought?
I guess just try out even the smallest thing. I mean, AI is here to stay, and it can benefit whether you have a business or your own personal life, or as a parent. I've used it to parenting stuff. What phone should I get my 13-year-old daughter? There's just so many, ask a question, like Paula said, just dip a toe in and just talk to it like you would if you were talking to like a trusted advisor or something, and then give it feedback. Tell it what you need, what you think, or if it goes awry, say, no, like, that's not what I wanted. Let's do this direction, and it will listen. It's not going to yell at you. That's a nice thing, is it doesn't get upset. You can just say, that sucked, try again, and it'll go, oh, I'm sorry, and it'll do it again. So just dip your toe and give it a try.
Amazing. Okay, Paula, final thought to you.
All right, I'm going to go back to ask, but this time ask each other. We're at a moment in time where humans have always had a relationship with technology, but now technology has a relationship back. And this is a whole new way of interacting with the world. So ask each other, talk to your families, talk to teachers. If you're a parent, talk to whomever you want to talk to about what does it mean to be a human at the center? What does it mean for us going forward with this new technology? Ask questions of the AI and ask others questions about AI. Just lots of questions.
Love it.
Okay, so basically, we're going to have human conversations like this one about AI, and its place in the world. Because
yes.
because we are human, we could totally do that.
Right? We could do that. And we should.
This is, like I said, I really appreciate all of your perspectives on this, and every time I talk about AI, I have to admit I'm a little bit I want to say like less frosty, but more melted. So I don't know what a better way to say that is. So I will just say it in the bad way. No, I get it. When you look at it as a tool and a tool for having conversations, for utilizing your best skills better to figure out a way to make AI just network with each other. No, I'm kidding. But the purpose of it being is to make your life better so you can make other people's lives better. That I am totally on board with. So thank you again, Paula, Chris, and Jason for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, if I'm going to try AI and try loving it a little bit more, you have absolutely no excuse. Make AI your friend, because why wouldn't you? Go out there, go for it. We know you can do it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.